Hey friends, thanks for clicking back in. Today is that very most important specialist of day during the holiday Christmas time. We all know what day that is. Guess, you know which day it is. That day, of course, is Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Where I get to gripe about all the things in this city that could be just that little bit better, or maybe even a whole bunch better, while I roll around and do a bit of last minute Christmas shopping. So let's have at it. You know, one thing that should make us all crazy is waste. You know, it affects all of us personally and even on a city level. You know, why spend the money on bike lanes? Thank you, city, for spending money on bike lanes. But why spend the money on bike lanes if they're not going to be usable or otherwise blocked for huge portions of the season sometimes? We're on a great example here, which is 20 Street Southwest. And beside me, where I can't ride, is a bike lane. Right now it is a death trap. This big ice flow right here. And so it's really, this is a maintenance issue. This is just like the city not maintaining this stuff. They put it in and forget about it. And this is also directly related to the city's terrible snow clearing, which we'll cover later. And to finish off this particular grievance, look at this elevated bike lane that the city has installed. It goes right up to the intersection and is completely unusable. Waste. There's a bike lane under there somewhere. And if we're airing some grievances today, another one is bike parking, but specifically the downtown secure bike valet that happened last summer. I don't know if that program was considered like well received that they did that pilot for the 1 year, but certainly as a guy who's in business, 1 year doesn't tell you anything. So to not try to do that pilot again kind of feels like speaks a lot to overall how we consider bike parking. You know, we need more of it. There needs to be secure parking in places that the city provides that people could ride and pay to park their bike. It's great to build bike lanes and to move people here and there, but if there isn't a place for people to feel safe about stashing their bike while they're doing an errand, we're missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Nadia and I only ever used the downtown parking space once. We went to a show at the Palace across the street there, and it was awesome. And guess how many times Nadia and I have ridden down to that same area in the last 12 months? 0. Because there's no safe place for us to put our bike. Why does the city do such a bad job at winter maintenance, really pretty much everywhere? If you're a person that gets around this city outside of a car on a regular basis, it's just so obvious how we've prioritized only the high-speed movement of cars in this city. And so this particular airing of grievances, this particular grievance, I guess is probably really directed at, the good citizens of Calgary in general. Why do you put up with it? Why do you think it's okay for there to be so many car accidents? Why do you think it's okay for there to be so many injuries from slips and falls that people experience? You know, there's estimates that show that we could clear all the sidewalks in this gigantic city for the equivalent of a Starbucks a month for the average homeowner. So think about that. You could walk all winter and not worry about falling down and dislocating your knee or breaking your hip or breaking your wrist. You know, and a lot of this goes back to one of my first points, is waste. We have this built environment that we've all paid for, and because we're too cheap to fund it just even a little bit, it becomes so unusable for so many people. 30% of our population doesn't drive for all kinds of reasons. And what do those people do? They take the bus, they walk, they might bike, they use car share, they might have like the handy bus and stuff coming for them, right? And so all of these folks, they're trapped in the winter. So yeah, I'm not just a complaint guy, I'm a solutions guy. So here's my perhaps modest solution. And it would be or at least a beginning. And let's call it a pilot program because that makes counselors feel okay. Why don't we plow the primary transit network in our city? All the sidewalks adjacent to the primary transit network. Let's start with that. Start there. That's going to allow way more people to safely get to the bus, C-train, and lots of amenities are located along transit lines. So let's start there, okay? A little bit of extra spend, and then you won't hear me complain about this grievance next year.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus for the biking rest of us would be missing links. Here I am out at the power center of West Hills, and there's actually not a terrible bike lane pathway system that connects from the Canadian Tire on one side of the major highway to over here to the West Hills side. But then just ahead of me, it totally stops, where you're then deposited into the classic wasteland of slip lanes and all this traffic and advanced left turns and all kinds of stuff. All of it with really terrible safety for people not in cars. And so, where I am right now, right here, I need to go over to the other side of the Winners there, where the regional pathway picks up again. And there's no way to get there safely if you were trying to bike through here. You really have to hop out onto the road and take your chances with all the crazy people in the parking lot. So I'm not going to tell the city how to do this, or the private company how to do this, but honestly, you can see where the desire lines are right there. Start with that and carve a little bit of lawn space out for us at all places like this, because we'll bike here if we can. Everything's here. What is a Festivus for the rest of us without some feats of strength? And today, feats of strength is not wrestling my brother, because he'd probably kill me. But actually, today, feats of strength was accomplished by riding the old cargo bike for a whole bunch of city errands today, which was good. Got a whole bunch of gear on board, lots of happy faces coming, or maybe unhappy because it's Festivus. Oh yeah, one other thing. Can't really have a Festivus without a pole, I suppose, right? So, there you go. There's a pole for you, I found one. Aluminum as well. Good strength to weight ratio. Happy Festivus.